In the 1980s, Glasgow was a city rife with violence and crime. Among the many criminal activities that took place, one of the most notorious was the so-called ice cream wars. What started as a turf war between rival ice cream van operators quickly turned into a brutal conflict, with violence and intimidation tactics being used to control the lucrative market for drugs and stolen goods. The most infamous incident during the ice cream wars occurred on April 16, 1984, when 6 members of the Doyle family were killed in an arson attack. Andrew Doyle, an 18-year-old driver for the Marchetti firm, had resisted being intimidated into distributing drugs on his run, leading to him being shot by an unidentified assailant through the windscreen of his van. A further frightener was planned against Doyle, but instead, his family's home was set on fire, killing 5 members of the Doyle family and a guest who was staying with them. But this was not the only incident of violence during the ice cream wars. Rival vendors would raid each other's ice cream vans and use shotguns to fire into the windscreens of the vehicles. In one particularly gruesome incident, a man was attacked with an axe and had his fingers cut off. In another, a man was beaten to death with a hammer. The police were widely criticized for their handling of the ice cream wars. The Strathclyde police earned the nickname Serious Chimes Squad for their perceived failure to address the conflict. Many people felt that the police were either unable or unwilling to stop the violence, and that their investigations were inadequate. In the aftermath of the Doyle family's murders, several people were arrested and charged. 4 were tried and convicted of offences related to the vendettas, but the remaining 2, Thomas T.C. Campbell and Joe Steele, were tried for the murders. They were both convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment, of which they were to serve no fewer than 20 years according to the judge's recommendation. But the case against Campbell and Steele was not without controversy. A witness who testified against them later admitted to lying under oath, and both men engaged in campaigns of protest to attempt to publicize their cases. Campbell protested whilst remaining in home prison Berlini, going on hunger strike, refusing to cut his hair, and making a documentary. Steele escaped from prison several times, to make high-profile demonstrations, including a rooftop protest and supergluing himself to the railings at Buckingham Palace. After a lengthy legal battle, the convictions of Campbell and Steele were finally quashed by the Court of Criminal Appeal in Edinburgh. New evidence was presented that suggested that the police may have fabricated evidence against the men, and that the original jury may have been misled. The case remains a contentious one in Scottish legal history, and the legacy of the ice cream wars continues to be felt in Glasgow to this day. The Glasgow ice cream wars were a period of intense violence and criminal activity that shook the city to its core. While the conflict may have started as a turf war between rival ice cream van operators, it quickly spiraled out of control, with violence and intimidation tactics being used to control the lucrative market for drugs and stolen goods. The police were widely criticized for their handling of the situation, and several people were arrested and charged, but the case against Campbell and Steele was mired in controversy. Ultimately, the ice cream wars were a dark chapter in Glasgow's history that serves as a reminder of the destructive power of criminal organizations and the importance of effective law enforcement.